Hey, I'll be right online here in a second. I'm going live on the radio. Testing 1, 2. Hang in there, folks. Just a second. Just a second.
I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yep, I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you, but I'm going to go live on the internet. But you've got.
I'm hearing
I
feedback
mute
with
myself
you
when
too.
I talk to you, and I know we're trying to do this. It's awkward, and I want everybody on Facebook just to listen in for a second, and I'll make some adjustments.
Okay.
That was a little
Rich,
bit
I'm going
clearer.
to mute you. That should get. You're listening. You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in Northport, Florida. I know that we've got a little echo in the background. I'm working on it right now. How does it sound? Phyllis, can you tell me now? Is it sounding good on that end? I would love some feedback. Thanks, Phyllis. I appreciate it. I'm going to put Rich Suggs on here real quick. He's got Mayor Pete with an update. So I'm going to Rich Suggs for a second. Rich.
All right. So I do have Mayor Pete Emergecy, Mayor of Northport. He has been at the Operations Center all morning and all afternoon. He will be able to give us the latest of what he is seeing. And I will tell you the news isn't good, but I'll let it come out of his mouth. Mayor Pete, can you talk to us about the latest situations in Northport?
Yeah, I can. We're experiencing some major devastation throughout our whole community, and right now we're focusing on life safety, rescue missions, evacuating people that are shut in, and we're using boats, airboats, kayaks, canoes, trying to get out into the outer reaches to where people may not even have any cell phones or phones to be able to contact us to let us know that they're in need. So we're doing that right now. We've got a great partnership going on with the county. The National Guard is in place. The American Red Cross is in town setting up their services. We're coordinating to get essential supplies. The city of Bradenton, they've already helped out and brought down supplies last night. I've been in contact with our congressmen, our senators, the governor, our state representatives. I've talked with all of them over the last few days. We are priority one to getting resources to us. No holds bar. We've got a lot of people that are out there trying to get stuff done. We're supposedly got quite a few workers from FBL. I see them all over the place. They've done all of their assessments, and their boots are on the ground. They're trying to fix power as they can. But unfortunately, we have had so many power poles taken down. We have lines underwater. We have transformers that have gone. And like the governor has said, this may be a longer experience on being able to rebuild all of these grids rather than having to just fix them. So we have to be patient and see exactly what's going to happen. The good news is we did get water hooked up to the Peace River supply. We're at about a 30% pressure right now, so it's a boil water if you plan on drinking it, but you can wash your hands, you can wash your dishes, you can take a shower. I would definitely boil the water before you give it to any pets as well, but that's the best that we're at right now. The water levels have sort of, they're still rising slowly, but it is going away. We have no clue on what the storm surge is going to bring over the next few days, but it's nothing drastic to where we're getting major flooding in our known flooded areas like the estates. Is still rising out there, but throughout the rest of the town it is receding. But we're now noticing there's a lot of structural damage to a lot of the bridges, a lot of the roadways that have been affected by being underwater, and we're closing off roads and areas as we see fit, due to the fact is that we don't want anybody to go across the roadway and then get stranded out there because we may not be able to get to them, and we wouldn't even know that they're stranded.
Okay.
Hey, Pete, will you talk a little bit about
I couldn't hear what he said.
Okay, he cannot hear you, so you might have to.
So listen, I'm going to throw this question at you, Rich, to give to Mayor Pete. Is there any roadways that say road closed that people should ignore those signs and go ahead and drive on them, such as Hillsborough, because people are going down Hillsborough Road ignoring that, and almost half of that road is deteriorated? Can that breach cause more major damage behind Kia downstream?
Basically talking about roads that have got road closed signs out, but people are driving around or they're not paying attention to it, and they've got road washed away part of it. I mean, the water has washed away part of it, and he's wondering if these people are causing further damage that might react downstream from all of this debris and this wash away. We're still seeing some of the effects of this water. And so what would your advice be? I mean, are they causing more damage than they think they are?
Yeah, absolutely. And I brought that up at the EOC meeting this morning. And like I said, right now we're focusing on life safety. We've put barricades up and stuff like that, hoping people with common sense would not go ahead and trespass against them. They're putting not only other people's lives at risk, but their very own by going past them. You don't know what power lines are still active underneath that water, and all it takes is for your undercarriage to catch a hold of it. Yeah, you may be grounded, but you could become fried just as well.
Right.
So it's on that individual, and once we get past the life safety, every boot on our ground right now, except for FPL, is working towards life safety, trying to rescue people that are in harm's way. We cannot man these road closed signs at this time, but as we get more personnel, it will be beefed up to that. And we're not going to chase people down. It's just not what we need to be doing. We need to be looking towards our citizens and going out and finding everybody that's in need, because it could be a very devastating event. And I hate using that word over and over again, but there's not another word that describes the way Northport is right now. And we got to be smart about it as citizens. We've got a curfew going on from 8 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, because heaven forbid, it's dark out there. You can't see where you're going. The best thing for people to do is stay off the roads. You know, I was out there this morning and I couldn't believe the traffic trying to get through places. Stay home, shut her down. We got supplies coming in. You know, we'll, as soon as all that stuff's set up and the roads get cleared, then we can go ahead and allow people to move around freely. But until then, you're just endangering yourselves.
Right. I would like to say that, I mean, you know, and this is a pet peeve of mine. Our local media, you know, the Sarasota, the Fort Myers, the Tampa media is not providing people in Northport with any kind of coverage of Northport. And I'll be honest with you, I'm 1,500 miles away, and it is driving me insane. And so I really do appreciate getting boots on the ground kind of coverage. But that's what we pay these daggone newscasts to do, so people do not have to go out and look and see what's going on. And so I would like to ask you, if you would, you know, typically Price Boulevard is, besides 41, our busiest traveled road, and that is temporarily shut down.
Correct.
And so you're
Sumter to Toledo Blade.
From Sumter to Toledo Blade, it is shut down. So not the high school and not the middle school back there, not the you know, the Morgan Center area. But anyway, so make a long story short, you do have ample sidewalks that were existent prior to the storm. Are those sidewalks still available for walking traffic?
What area you're in, Rich? Because there's some areas when we were driving yesterday when I had to go and do a press conference, it was, you know, it was halfway up my truck. So how many people want to be walking in waist deep water to get from point A to point B?
Right.
Because first off, it's not safe because you got all them critters out there. Water moccasins love water, and it doesn't take anything for one bite and you're done.
Right.
So I wouldn't even suggest people going out there. And there's people doing it. I mean, you got kids out there playing in the water, but again, what about the power lines that are underneath the water? It's just, people need to sit back and relax and just chill out. And it's not, if this is not a game, people, this is a life-threatening event that's affecting Northport big time.
You know,
and we just had another press conference today where the city manager, while I was at the EOC, we had Channel 7, Channel 8, Channel 9, I believe, were down here, and we were just going over everything that you and I are going over now so we can get it out to the community as best as possible. But here's the deal. People don't have power. They don't have TV. Our phone service, like right now, I can talk to you, but I can't talk to John, and he's in my own town.
right.
So it's very tough to communicate, and I have no internet, so I can't even get on Facebook, but very spotty to put messages out there.
Right.
And that's 3/4 of the town. Some people have, very little people have power. Most people don't.
Well, you know, the governor yesterday, if I could just interject this, and I'm just curious if you've heard of anything, they had brought down 100 cell towers. And, you know, I understand Fort Myers and Fort Myers Beach is devastated. I fully understand that Sanibel is devastated, but so is Sarasota and Port Charlotte, Sarasota County and Port Charlotte, you know, especially the Venice, the Northport area, the Inglewood area. Are they doing anything to get that kind of infrastructure back so we can? You know, you're making my heart ache because I'm eager for information. I can imagine many of our winter residents are worried about their location, their families down here, and literally it's like a brain surgery trying to get communications through there.
Right, and I tell you what, I talked with the governor the other day, and he assured me that, you know, Northport was ground zero, and all resources are coming to Northport, and all of the, you know, 9 different counties have been affected by this in a great way. So all resources are going to have to be shared. Right. They know that this was a devastating storm to Northport, and he's vowing to make sure that we have all resources, which they're coming in. I mean, and they're coming in heavy. Like I said, the National Guard's here. They were here within 24 hours. We got FPL and line workers from all over the country. I believe there's 200,000 line workers ready to go to work down here in the state of Florida. So we've got the resources. We've done the assessments. So now it's time where their boots are on the ground and they're going to work. It's not an overnight fix. It's not going to happen.
You know, the situation with Price Boulevard and with these canal bridges that have been undermined, you know, when you bring in heavy equipment like you're talking about for tree removal, to bring in new power poles, to bring in all the line that's going to be needed, those are heavy vehicles that, you know, I'm hoping we can do something along the lines of providing ingress and egress out of these neighborhoods to get them back there to do that. And I'll only interject one thing. I don't know that this is apples and apples, but after Hurricane Katrina, I actually went the next year to New Orleans, and over Lake Pontchartrain, I traveled it. I saw it. I remember it. The whole roadway on Lake Pontchartrain had completely disappeared, and all there was there were the support members, and they put heavy steel, reinforced steel over it, and people were driving over it. And that is how they got from Slidell, Louisiana, in and out of New Orleans. If they can do that over a Lake Pontchartrain, we should be able to get it over these little bitty canals that we have, so we can get heavy equipment across there. That's how they did it. We can do the same thing.
Right. Now, what that you brought up about, trees and stuff like that, there are individuals right now, I just found out this afternoon when I came down my street, there are individuals out now charging people to cut the trees out of the roads in front of their house.
Yep.
Now, it's a different story if it's on your property and you want to hire somebody to do it. You are not obligated to clear the road in front of your house. Public Works is setting up a schedule to come out and clear roadways. If you've already cleared it, you just saved them some work, but you shouldn't have to pay out of your pocket to clear a roadway of a fallen tree. That's the city's responsibility, and we will take care of it. If you want roads on your own property, make sure they are licensed and insured before you give them a dime, because they're out and about looking to make money.
Right. I will give you a little first-hand information. Contacted Rob Whitmer. He lives in Port Charlotte, and he had a truckload of guys that were, now this was yesterday. He had a truckload of guys from Texas. I mean, we literally are talking less than 24 hours. They charged them $1,600 to cut the trees out of their yard and haul them away. $1,600. Now, I asked him, I said, did you make sure that they had workers' compensation? Did you make sure they were licensed? Because I will tell you, if those people get injured on your property, you will not only have a lawsuit, they might own your house if you don't make sure that they have the right type of insurance before they enter your property.
Yeah, my neighbor had two gentlemen come up to her. She's got two little palm trees. One's hanging out in the road, one's hanging in her yard. They said, normally we charge $500, but we'll do it for you for $400. And she goes, well, give me one of your cards. And then she was smart. She goes, and let me talk to my husband about it. So they're coming around trying to get work. I understand that. And I just want people, don't be gullible on, you do not have to clear the road. If you want to do private business, make sure they're licensed and insured. There's a lot of down trees, and I know people can't do it themselves.
Right.
But just wait a few days, because it's not that important to clear the roadways yourself. Let Public Works work on that.
Right. Now, I will also just tell you right now that the What is that?
Our house.
And it's flooding?
Oh, electric.
Oh, we got electric on at our house in off of Chamberlain in Northport, just to let you know. So we do have electric now because we know from our Ring camera. Anyway, there is the Army Corps of Engineer. I gave this information out earlier, but let's say you have roof damage and you do not want further damage or rain to get into your roof, and you're saying, oh gosh, I don't feel comfortable getting up on my roof. You can, and I will give you the number. It's actually, I'll see if I can find it right now, but you can call the Army Corps of Engineers and give them a right of entry application. They will send, for free of charge, people to come to your house if you've got less than 50% damage on your structure. They'll put a roof blue tarp on it. It's called Operation Blue Tarp. And
right, and they've posted that on Facebook, but apparently that number is no longer good.
Oh, are you serious? Well, don't tell me that, Mayor.
I'm just saying that's been out there, and we've directed people to do that, and either they don't. The one person commented that they don't do it anymore, and then another person commented saying, "Well, I think that's an old number." So we haven't been able to get through to them. But if you have a good current number, please share it with us, because we know we got people that need that service.
Okay, so I will just, and John, I don't know if you can offline, since it's kind of a situation where you and I can't talk at the same time. I'm not trying to direct your show, but if you can do 888-766-3258, if you can call and see if that's a good number, we'll keep reporting it. And that is direct from RJ Malloy that told us, okay, you can hear me. And so John is trying to call.
Okay.
Okay, one more time. I will try to give one more time. 888-766-3258. And that is Operation Blue Roof. It is for, not Blue Tarp, but Blue Roof. And right as we speak, John Rawlings is calling that number to see if it's a good number. That is the number I was provided, and I want to give that number to all our listeners. But I am very happy to say our house has electricity. Okay, so
I'm gonna go stay at your house, Rich. I hope you got beer in the fridge.
I do. Okay, she says she thinks it's coming and going. Well, at least they're working on it, is what I can say. It is a good number. That is a good number for Operation Blue Roof. It is the Army Corps of Engineers. It's a right of entry web application. You can sign up for assistance using a right of entry form that gathers information about your residence. And it'll allow not only the Army Corps of Engineer, but their contractors to come in and put a blue tarp over your roof. They're not going to fix your roof. That isn't the whole deal. It is to try to get a blue tarp, and it's something you're going to need if you've had roof damage. And so
absolutely, to prevent damage from going inside the house even further. So yeah, I got you.
Okay, so again, Mr. Mayor, if you can write this down or have it, I'll text it to you or something.
I've already written it down. I will get it to my people, and we'll get it out on the city's website.
Okay, good deal. So if it's one of those things I keep telling people, you have survived a very, very, very strong Category 4, 2 miles an hour short of a Category 5. And it'd be a shame for you to hurt yourself or kill yourself on top of your roof. Let those professionals handle that.
Yeah, absolutely. I seen a post today, and the lady that posted it, Leslie Williams, she said we survived a 4.95 cat hurricane.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was the best description I have seen so far, because we were only like 2 miles an hour out from being a Cat 5.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder if they're measuring. There was some strong friggin' wind, and they had recorded winds of 180 something So you wonder if did they record it right? Anyway, it is what it is.
It's close enough, man. We need our I survived Ian shirts.
Well, I will tell you right now, I think we need to get some volunteers to print those, because you guys, it was literally a survival.
It really was.
I mean, you know, this isn't no, oh man, there was a 75-mile-an-hour wind coming by and I survived the hurricane. This is as deadly as they come. Now, can I just, and I'm just going to interject something, and since you're in government, and you have issues with codes of our building codes and things like that, you kind of help set these things in order. I'm going to tell you something. I know there's a lot of devastation. I understand fully, but I will say this: the amount of devastation that we are seeing in these newer homes are considerably less than the older homes and homes that withstood this massive pounding down in Fort Myers. So I want to congratulate you and all the building professionals and the contractors that were putting together some mighty fine homes in our area, because I'm going to tell you this: compared to ones that were right on the beach, brand spanking new, that storm surge wiped them off the map. And yet I'm seeing houses that were newly constructed, 10 years ago on up, and very little, if any, damage. So, and you're partially responsible for that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and I did talk with building official today on going, getting back sound and stuff, and we'll have different policies in effect to where, they may not be issuing permits for fences, but they'll be issuing permits for, restructure of the house and possibly waiving fees. And we're not into that process yet, but I know we did back in Irma when people needed to rebuild. But once we get to that point of being able to do so, we will partner with everybody trying to get their stuff replaced as best as possible.
Right.
Because we've been given funding from not only state, Biden even said that he was President Biden even said that he was, 100% on Florida to help rebuild, so that puts up federal funds as well, and FEMA, we've got a lot of agencies out there that are ready to help. We will definitely take that help and pass that on to our citizens as best as possible, because we're all in it together.
John, I know you're holding back and you need ask some questions, so go ahead.
So real quick, I want to point out that the information that's online is accurate. They are picking up the phone. Somebody please let me know if that feedback is too intense. I hear it on my end, but I'm not sure you're picking it up. John Cook, thanks for checking in. Phyllis McKay, thanks for checking in. My question is, with the road conditions as they are we going to analyze Price Boulevard, Hillsborough Boulevard, and possibly get these roads to a different standard versus a patch and move forward?
Asking whether or not, with the damage that we have sustained on Price Boulevard and on Hillsborough, and Hillsborough is a little different because that's by county, but in Hillsborough needs to be widened and redone, but Price also. And is there any talk presently about getting it done the way it's supposed to be done when we rebuild it back, instead of patchwork?
When we go to widen Price, this has already been in the works on widening Price. It will be done in today's standards, including all pipage, all drainage. Everything will have retention ponds that are supposed to be out there properly. The sub base will be we'll have all new sub base. Everything's going to be all brand new when we go to widen Price.
Yes, and I fully understand it, but we're going to be spending millions of dollars to fix what is damaged right now. And we know that, I mean, and then Lord behold, you know, I'm not blaming you or anyone. It's just the cost of doing business. But it is going up exponentially. It was a $20 million project when I moved here, and now it's a $100 million project or $80 million project. And I'm just wondering, and I guess this is part of what other people that are listening to this, is there a way that we can go ahead and incorporate the design and the re-widening and everything, at least for price, instead of just patching it up and spending millions and millions of dollars just to do that?
There's always a way, but here's the best way. We've got a referendum coming up in November that is specifically for Price Boulevard, and it's about being able to borrow surtax money in the future to use now. It's just like putting a road bond out there that we would charge the citizens an extra $80 a year on in their taxes. This would not cost the citizens anything. We would be, like, over the next 10 years, we'd be looking at $370 million, I believe, is what would be coming in. Right. If the citizens pass that referendum, that means come December 1st or whatever, we could borrow that, let's say it's $100 million at a bond rate, that we're just going to be using surtax funds to do the whole price widening, and we could start construction as early as next spring.
Okay.
So that's the way that we were looking at doing price, but you've got naysayers out there that say, oh no, we don't want to do that. It's the smartest way to do that because we're using surtax money. We don't have to save up that $100 million per se, and we're not going to have to take a bond that affects the taxpayers to get it done. Right. It's a win-win for everybody, and we're using surtax funds on it.
So, you know, with the fact that, you know, many road and bridge infrastructures in Southwest Florida have failed, and most notably probably looking at the Sanibel Causeway as an example. There is no way surtax funds anywhere in Florida would cover that kind of construction. And I'm just curious if the President of the United States, Joe Biden, said, we're going to make sure we rebuild Florida. Is there a way, do you know, has anybody come to you, like the governor, like the congressman that you've spoken to, and said, we'll make sure that Price Boulevard gets taken care of? Or is that a non-issue right now?
Well, we don't know how damaged it is. So that would be final assessments once we get done and we're starting to rebuild. Right now, we're just holding together and doing life safety.
Right.
You know, if Price was really dilapidated to where you can't get from point A to point B, then absolutely we're going to seek federal assistance along with state assistance to get whatever we can get done now. And I'm not saying as a patch, but let's see where we do patch is incorporated into the new plan to where that section may be done and then move on to getting the rest of.
Right. Right. You know,
so it may be narrow, then wide, then narrow, then wide. You know, according to how the dollars come in, to me, that's not the smartest plan. It may be a plan, but I would like to do it all at once if we could. So let's say they give us half of the money and we take half of the money from surtax. It's going to come down to what is the actual situation when we're looking at repairs.
Okay. Now,
we don't know that right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is only 48 hours since the thing hit us. All right. So, John.
Is it on our minds? Absolutely. It's on our minds.
And it's on all the people's minds too, I think. You know, and the major concern that a lot of us have is that is such a complete need in our community. I mean, nobody goes mostly anywhere if you're not including Price Boulevard. And there are many communities that I fear, I haven't gone and done the research, but if Price Boulevard is shut down. How do those kids get to school? How do they get, in case there's a fire, how do fire engines get to them? Those kinds of things. I know they're working on life saving. So these are questions for later on, but it's one of those things that, planners are going to have to decide. I know there had been talk in this city about the possibility of making other accessibility through some of the canals within the community and not having to come out to, and I think all of those things are going to have to be discussed, because this is the perfect example of why you need to have more than one or two east-west thoroughfares.
Right now, our other one happens to be Tropicana Boulevard that's half underwater. One side of it's clear, the other side is not. So you can't even use our secondary, which is not really a secondary, but I understand what you're saying, and this project should have been done 25 years ago, Rich. You and I both know this.
Right.
And we're just still, a lot. And I'm not trying to throw blame on anybody, but people back in the day just didn't have foresight and didn't want to get it done. And I'm talking about commissioners, past commissioners, and they pushed it to the next ones, and then it got pushed. And this commission right now is actually the ones that are looking at trying to get these things fixed and done. And we're the bad people because it may cost money and cost people tax dollars, but we're in the foresight of we need to fix stuff that hasn't been fixed in 25 years.
Absolutely. John wants a question.
I know I'm going to get feedback. Talk about the canal structure itself, and are there any compromises right now, and what we need to do to address the canal system.
Is there any indication of canal degradation and intrusion into places where the canal isn't supposed to be? And is there any talk about any kind of changes? I know that's kind of early on. I mean, has there been any talk about canal changes? I mean, we have 30 or 24, 35 or something water control structures, and most of those are, 60 years old.
Canals are holding up. It's capacity that they're at max capacity. What happens is you can have a canal system could possibly hold water, but right now you got Charlotte Harbor that's up, Bayaca River that's up. There's no place for this water to go except for sit still and go over the sides of the banks.
Right.
So there's no degradation in the canals that has been reported yet. It's just that they're at capacity and they're going to spill over. Now, I have an R ditch or it's a fairly big ditch behind my house. When it was raining, I went out and checked the other night, and it was coming into my backyard. After I got up the next morning, the water was gone because we feed right down into the Bayaca River.
Right.
So our drainage system where I'm at in Highland Ridge worked perfectly, but we were on one of the ends that it could get out. Now, could it backflow back in? If you're at even at the Weir 100 or going to go to the river or it's going to go down to Charlotte Harbor. Okay. And with both of them being full, there's no place for it to go except for up on land. So maybe capacity can be looked at down the road and making them wider and a little bit deeper. That would probably be about the only solution. Maybe add some more as runoff. But now you're talking into getting engineering and all this stuff. And what's really going to work? Is it going to be worth your bang for your buck? It's going to take, years of study to either redesign or reincorporate new canals into our system.
Right. Is there any chance that, I know you had a plan and a lot of these have been taking out the vegetation that kind of restricts flow, and you've deepened some of them, and maybe we can look at more of that instead of building new. Maybe we can just kind of make them deeper, control more water.
Yeah, and we have lowered everything that we possibly could prior to. Public Works had been on it for like a month and a half, knowing that we were in storm season, not specifically for Ian.
Right.
But once we got closer to Ian, they actually dropped the Blue Ridge Lake and everything. And it was probably down, out of 12, 14 inches. And that's what's flooding the McKibben right now, because it rose that much, because we had nonstop rains. We probably had 20, 24 inches of rain within that hurricane time period.
Right. Well, and speaking of Northport drainage, I live off of Chamberlain between Price and Cranberry. And I'll tell you, having my granddaughter there at the house, she was saying that, she kind of started getting concerned because it went up about quarter way of our driveway. And when they went to bed the night before, and she went to bed, got back up, and it was all gone. Now
that's the same with my house. It was halfway up my driveway the night before, got up, I'm dry the next morning.
Right. So being able to drain what falls on you is excellent. I don't think you could ask for better. And in certain areas, now I'm not going to say every area, but in most areas, I will say this. My concern is the 100 square miles north of us that got the same 15 to 20 inches of rain.
Yeah, because that's all coming down towards us.
Right.
A lot of it is, and then we have to disperse it. That's the big slough up there, and it holds a lot of water. So if they got 24 inches and Northport got 24 inches, that's all coming our way, and we're at the situation we're in right now because of that, and that's natural. We could plan all day long and double our canals, but I guarantee you we would still flood because of the downfall that we got. It was massive, and that's all wrong. It's an act of God. You really can't predict major monsoon weather like we had.
Right. Now, I will just say, because John has been more than kind, I know we're dealing with a lot of feedback, and you're kind of on my side because I'm the one that's having to call you, and because of that cell service, he wasn't able to. Now, he's got people that that are asking questions that I can't see, and he asked if there's any chance this time or next time, or sometime real soon, he would love you to do it right now, if you could go to his house where he's set up, and he can kind of ask you the questions that the citizens of Northport in this area are asking. It's just too cumbersome right now to kind of put those all through. So whether you can or not, that's up to you. I know that it's his show, Real Talk Live, and I'm kind of controlling this thing, and I don't want to, but it's the feedback we're trying to minimize. And oh my gosh, is this you, John? Is this things that you've taken pictures of? Oh, who took all these pictures? I'll stop. Well, he is, if you look online, well, it's got Mayor Pete on there, but
on Google.
And if you Google Northport Hurricane Ian, if you Google Northport Hurricane Ian, you're going to see tons and tons of pictures of what's actually happening that you're not seeing anywhere else. And it is devastation like you've never seen before. Or maybe you have seen before, but I will just say this. This is the kind of thing that needs to get out there, because unfortunately our local media has basically treated us like Sarasota always treats us, as the redheaded stepchild. So Mayor, I'm going to, John, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to continue? Again, Mayor, I don't know how much.
Go ahead and Go ahead and go off the air, and then I'll finish the rest of the show, and I'll get with Pete later.
Okay. So
But I'm gonna restart. I've got some updates.
Yeah. Tell John I'll gladly come to his place. I just need to know how to get out there with what roads that are open, because I know he's near the Toledo Blade area. I know I should be able to go down 41 to Toledo Blade and get into his complex. I just don't know exactly where he lives. So if he gives me directions, I can do that. I can do it this afternoon, this evening, whenever he wants to get together, according to my schedule when I have my briefings and stuff. But I'm open. Just have him try to coordinate a time with me, and I'll try to make it happen as best as I can.
Okay, I think he's going to text me. Is that what you're trying to say, John? Texting him? You're going to text Mayor Pete. He's going to text you his address and how to get there. So if you can get 41, you just go down Toledo Blade until you get to the subway and the mobile station. And you turn in there, turn to your right, and he'll give you the address.
Okay, that'll be fine. And whenever he wants to do it, I'm available. I'll gladly come in if he wants. You know, if he's got citizens that have questions, I got no problems with that.
Okay, so I'm going to say bye to you, Mayor, and he's got some updates. So please, if you're on Facebook watching this, don't go away. John's going to stay here. I'm going to get out so he can talk to you, and he's got some updates he wants to give you. So, John, thank you so much for letting me participate, and I'm leaving the studio along with Mayor Pete Emergecy.
Hey, Rich, just a little.
So I'm hoping I'm going to go off the air. I will be right back. I got to reset the program. Sorry about that, but please come back. Please come back and hear what I got to say. Very important stuff. You're listening